Valentine's Day is often filled with roses, chocolates, and romantic promises. But today, we'll discover a love story deeper than flowers. A love rooted in loyalty, faith, and redemption. This is the story of Ruth and Boaz. The story begins in a time of famine. A woman named Naomi leaves Bethlehem with her husband and 2 sons. They travel to a foreign land called Moab, but tragedy strikes. Naomi's husband dies. Later, both her sons die as well, leaving Naomi and her 2 daughters, Ruth and Orpah, widows, broken and grieving. Naomi decides to return to Bethlehem. She urges her daughters-in-law to remain in Moab. Orpah reluctantly stays. But Ruth makes a life-changing declaration. Where you go, I will go. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. This wasn't romantic love. This was covenant love. Ruth chose loyalty over comfort, faith over fear. When they arrive in Bethlehem, Ruth humbly works in the fields, gathering leftover grain to provide for Naomi, by what seems like coincidence, but was divine providence. She finds herself working in the field of Boaz. Boaz was a wealthy landowner. He notices Ruth. He hears about her loyalty to Naomi. Instead of ignoring her, he protects her. He provides for her. He speaks blessing over her life. Boaz tells his workers to leave extra grain for her. He invites her to eat at his table. He treats her not as a foreigner, but with dignity and grace. This is where the love story begins to unfold. Boaz was what the Bible calls a kinsman redeemer, someone who could legally restore a widow's future by marrying her and preserving her family line. Under Naomi's guidance, Ruth courageously approaches Boaz and asks him to redeem her. And Boaz responds not with hesitation, but with honor. He declares his intention to marry her. But first, he ensures everything is done legally and righteously. His love is not impulsive. It is responsible. It is honorable. It is protective. Soon, Boaz redeems Ruth. He marries her, and their union becomes more than just a love story. It becomes part of God's greater plan. Ruth and Boaz become the great-grandparents of King David, and generations later, from their lineage comes Jesus Christ. What began as loss became legacy. What began as grief became redemption. This story reminds us that true love is not just passion. It is commitment. It is sacrifice. It is faithfulness in small, unseen moments. On Valentine's Day, while the world celebrates romance, the story of Ruth and Boaz reminds us that God writes the best love stories, stories of redemption, restoration, and purpose. Maybe today you feel like Naomi, grieving. Maybe you feel like Ruth, stepping into uncertainty. Or maybe you're waiting like Boaz, trusting God's timing. Remember this: God sees faithfulness, and in His perfect timing, He redeems every season. Because the greatest love story is not just Ruth and Boaz. It is the story of a Redeemer who came for us all. And that is love worth celebrating. Thanks for watching. If this video has touched you in any way, please like, subscribe, comment, and share.